saying, Rowan, I couldn't do that at 27. No nonsense, straight to the point, courage, detail.
It finally happened. The lawsuit everyone thought would disappear quietly has ended with the most expensive TV judgment in U.S. history. Karoline Leavitt didn't just win, she caused a shockwave so powerful that ABC and The View are now facing what insiders call a slow, burning meltdown. $800 million isn't just a loss, it's a massive blow to one of the most controversial talk shows on daytime TV. Whoopi is silent, Joy is missing, and Sunny is reportedly calling her lawyers again. Meanwhile, Karoline is walking like she owns the headlines. This isn't just a legal win, it's a major moment of media payback. It's not about justice anymore, it's about karma, loud and clear. And now, The View, once the queen of daytime ratings, is staring down the threat of bankruptcy. Stay tuned, because what's coming next is pure chaos. We're revealing every twist, every leaked message, every desperate settlement attempt, and exactly how Karoline flipped the script on a media giant. Before we dive in, hit that like button if you're tired of media double standards, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next media meltdown. Subscribed? Good. Let's break down how The View went from daytime royalty to total courtroom disaster.
There is so much good news, so much winning out of the Trump White House right now that the mainstream legacy media can't keep up.
The moment the gavel dropped and the $800 million judgment became official, it didn't just shake The View, it rocked all of ABC to its core. Within seconds, the shockwaves hit Wall Street like a wrecking ball. ABC's parent company, once seen as too big to fail, watched its stock plummet, losing millions in market value before most people even had lunch. Traders were stunned, analysts had no words, and financial news anchors tore up their scripts live on air. CNBC even cut its tech segment just to break the news. This wasn't just a hit, it was a full-blown confidence collapse. That loud noise? Not applause, but alarms. While Karoline Leavitt's legal team was still celebrating with coffee, the downfall had already begun. In Manhattan's office towers, panic swept through ad agencies, and 4 major sponsors, brands you see in nearly every commercial break, pulled their ads immediately, not over time. One insider described the chaos as a dam bursting, with partners dropping out by the minute and phones ringing non-stop. It was financial chaos, ad departments froze, planned rollouts vanished, and product placements disappeared overnight. The revenue stream that funded The View's high-end production just stopped. This wasn't a small bump, it was a total breakdown. And the worst part? Most networks rely on crisis insurance during disasters, especially when their on-air talent causes trouble, but ABC's policy had a specific exclusion. It didn't cover intentional defamation, and that's exactly what Karoline's win was based on: deliberate, calculated character attack. With no insurance backup and no financial cushion, this wasn't a legal scrape, it was a full-speed Titanic crash, and there were no lifeboats. ABC's finance division collapsed under pressure, emergency meetings filled boardrooms, and legal teams rushed in like first responders. Executives frantically scanned budgets like they were trying to stop a bomb from going off. One question echoed: can we survive this? That's when the word no one in corporate America wants to hear started to spread, first whispered, then texted, and finally showing up in leaked memos: bankruptcy. A young HR employee even messaged a friend in the graphics department, they're saying Chapter 11. This wasn't just fear, it was real. Reality hit hard. Hiring was frozen, budgets were slashed, travel was cancelled, security was reduced, and catering went from gourmet spreads to soggy sandwiches and burned coffee. Through it all, the silence was louder than ever. Karoline Leavitt said nothing, no interviews, no posts, no smug comments, just silence, and somehow, that silence said more than any headline ever could. Her calm response cut deeper than any scandal as ABC's foundation started to crumble and executives scrambled to save what they could. Meanwhile, Karoline stayed steady, watching quietly as The View didn't just stumble, it sank. The woman they once mocked became the storm that changed everything. Don't blink, because this is just the beginning. The moment that $800 million verdict landed like a legal guillotine, the focus didn't just stay on ABC, it zoomed in hard on the three most recognizable faces of the show, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and Sunny Hostin. Let's be real, these weren't just TV personalities anymore, they had instantly become high-risk liabilities. In a flash, the queens of daytime talk turned into walking warnings, their public images scorched, their reputations torn apart, and their careers hanging by legal threads no amount of PR could spin clean. While the media obsessed over ABC's meltdown, something even more serious unfolded behind closed doors. Each co-host was called in, not to a glitzy dressing room, but to cold, quiet legal meetings. No cameras, no makeup teams, just lawyers with files and facts, and a message delivered with no sugarcoating. They might be personally responsible for part of that massive judgment, yes, personally, and yes, financially. Let that sink in. Whoopi's usual confidence? Gone. Insiders say she hired a top-tier crisis management team, the kind usually brought in for disgraced politicians and CEOs. That's how serious this got. Joy Behar, once known for her sharp sarcasm, reportedly stopped showing up to meetings altogether, no emails, no calls, nothing. As one crew member joked, she ghosted her own scandal. And Sunny Hostin, who's a legal expert herself, reportedly broke down in tears during a closed-door meeting, not for show, not on camera, but real emotion, because she understood what the others wouldn't say out loud. This wasn't just bad press, it was career-ending. But it didn't stop there. Karoline's legal team didn't just file a lawsuit, they dropped a sledgehammer. What they presented wasn't just evidence, it was a detailed blueprint of media cruelty. Slack messages filled with pre-planned jabs, behind-the-scenes clips of the hosts mocking Karoline during ad breaks, and producer notes assigning who would land the harshest insults. This wasn't a show gone off script, it was a planned takedown, complete with rehearsal cues. ABC's defense tried to call it banter, heat-of-the-moment stuff, but the receipts told a different story, every line documented, every moment cross-checked, every smirk timed. Then came the final blow, a backstage video no one was ever supposed to see, dug up from deep inside ABC's archives. In it, Joy Behar casually sips coffee, laughs with a producer, and says the line that destroyed any sympathy left, "Let's see her sue us for that." The arrogance, the tone, it sealed their fate. And Joy? She did sue, and she won. The courtroom went silent when that clip played. One juror even whispered, "That's cold." That moment didn't just hurt their defense, it became the symbol of everything people hate about modern media, the smugness, the cruelty, and the belief that power makes you untouchable. Turns out, it doesn't.
Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked.
Karoline's silence in that moment spoke louder than any press release ever could. This wasn't just about winning in court, it was about long overdue accountability finally catching up with unchecked arrogance. For the hosts of The View, this wasn't a stumble, it was a full-blown free fall with no parachute, no safety net, and no one left willing to catch them. And while the fallout had only just begun, Karoline was just getting started. Now, let's take you inside ABC headquarters, because what happened behind those sleek glass walls was even more explosive than what played out in the courtroom. Picture this, a polished boardroom lined with leather chairs and a 40-foot table once used for confident pitches, champagne celebrations, and smug certainty. It was dead silent, until it wasn't. One insider called it a corporate funeral, another described it as the most chaotic executive meltdown in ABC's modern history. When the $800 million verdict hit, it didn't just shock the company, it triggered actual alarms. An internal security alert went off as multiple senior staffers tried to access restricted financial files at the same time. ABC's crisis team had trained for scandals, but not for total collapse. In those first few moments, they were frozen, overwhelmed, and unprepared. Here's how it began. At exactly 2:01 p.m., just minutes after the jury announced the verdict, an emergency meeting was called, and chaos officially began. The email's subject line read, "Immediate response, lawsuit verdict." By 2:15 p.m., the conference room was packed. Legal counsel, PR heads, network executives, showrunners, even Disney stakeholders patched in through encrypted Zoom. The tension was suffocating, every breath heavy with panic. One executive slammed the table so hard a glass pitcher tipped over. "We let this happen. We enabled this." Another, visibly shaking, threw a legal binder across the room. "This is bigger than Don Imus. Bigger than Roseanne. This is legacy destruction." Then, the moment that shifted everything, a junior legal assistant rushed in holding a single envelope from Karoline's legal team. Inside was one sentence, printed in stark Helvetica: "We suggest you begin calculating liquidation options." Liquidation. A word never spoken in connection with the view, now hanging in the air like a bomb. This wasn't something PR could fix, this was legal nuclear fallout, and they were standing at ground zero. Panic erupted. Some executives demanded immediate firings. Fire Whoopi. Fire Joy. Fire Sunny. Burn the brand. Others pushed back, warning that acting too fast would scream guilt. "If we move now," one said, "we admit we knew it was indefensible." The room exploded into chaos, shouting, fists slamming on desks, faces turning red. One exec stormed out yelling, "I told you not to greenlight that segment." Then came the final gut punch. A marketing insider leaked the results of a buried internal poll, the one that had predicted this exact backlash if the segment aired. They ignored it. Now, that poll is Exhibit A in a fresh wave of shareholder lawsuits. Yes, you heard that right, the reckoning isn't over. It's multiplying.
How ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists, but they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
This case didn't just cost ABC $800 million in damages, it blew the floodgates wide open, unleashing a tidal wave of investor fury, class action threats, and the most terrifying possibility of all, total, network-wide bankruptcy. What started as a single lawsuit was now spiraling into a corporate collapse of historic proportions, the kind of downfall executives only face in their worst nightmares. During the emergency meeting, ABC's CFO reportedly laid everything on the table: ad revenue losses at $140 million, legal fees topping $38 million, sponsorship contracts voided worth $221 million, and brand damage so severe it couldn't even be calculated. This wasn't a financial bruise, it was a severed artery, bleeding out in real time on national TV. And then came the second blow. Just as executives scrambled for damage control, a leaked video exploded on Twitter. Joy Behar, post-taping, sipping wine and smirking, saying, "Let's see her sue us for that." Oh joy, she did, and she won. 2 million views in minutes. 10 million hashtags within the hour. Hashtag JoyBerect, hashtag Whoopi went down, hashtag Sunnyside gun. Advertisers freaked out. A major automaker immediately announced a full reevaluation of its daytime marketing. A media conglomerate froze all View syndication deals on the spot. And the harshest twist? Disney was already preparing for the worst. If bankruptcy hits, one exec admitted, the entire daytime division is gone, not restructured, not rebranded, wiped out. And yet, in the middle of all this, ABC still thought a polished apology or a couple of suspensions might stop the bleeding. But Karoline's legal team didn't even respond. No counterstatements, no press tour, just silence. Because there was nothing left to say. The verdict had dropped, the damage was multiplying, and the View was disappearing, one scandal at a time. ABC went from, "Let's make this go viral," to, "Let's explore liquidation," in under 3 months, and no PR spin could erase what had just happened, because this wasn't a crisis, it was a reckoning. Across studios and newsrooms, anchors and producers watched the collapse unfold like it was their own trial, because if Karoline Leavitt could take down The View, then no host, no network, and no off-script moment in media was safe anymore. Let's talk ripple effects. ABC wasn't the only one panicking. CBS held emergency meetings, NBC launched legal audits of every unscripted segment from the past 6 months, and even streaming giants like Netflix and Hulu quietly looped in their litigation teams. Why? Because Karoline didn't just win, she shattered the myth that media giants are untouchable. Now, the entire industry is treating talk shows like lawsuits waiting to happen. Other networks are slashing scripts like they're hiding evidence, and hosts are now required to attend mandatory defamation training. One CNN insider even revealed that new talent contracts include narrative liability clauses, making hosts personally responsible for their words on air. TikTok's calling it the talk show takedown. Twitter is flooded with hashtags like #ViewBankrupt, #CarolineKarma, #TruthOverTalk, and #MediaReckoning. Influencers are breaking down the court case frame by frame, YouTube is overflowing with hours-long deep dives, and for once, pundits on both sides actually agree. Karoline Leavitt didn't just win a case, she changed the rules of the game. This was bigger than Karoline, this was about the unchecked power of the media finally being held accountable. Just think about it. A 26-year-old conservative woman dragged the most powerful daytime show in American history into court and took it down. No shouting, no social media meltdowns, no scandal-fueled interviews, just calm, collected receipts and a precise dismantling of institutional arrogance. That's not just a news cycle, that's folklore in the making. Now, the whispers are growing into real conversations. Political strategists are quietly eyeing 2028, with one campaign insider allegedly saying, "She's got the platform, she's got the fire-tested base." The media tried to dismiss her with sarcasm, but she buried them with affidavits. They're calling her the conservative AOC, except instead of tweets, she wields subpoenas. In a time when narrative manipulation used to go unchecked, Karoline made them pay, and she made it stick. And that's the ultimate truth. The View didn't just lose a lawsuit, they lost the culture war.
Most divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economy.
So here we are, not just at the end of a headline, but the end of an era. The studio lights are dim, the makeup mirrors reflect nothing but silence, and audience tickets have been suspended indefinitely. ABC, once the titan of daytime television, is hemorrhaging from every wound, financially, reputationally, and morally. The View isn't just stumbling, it's gasping for air in a PR disaster so massive it's shaking the very core of the media industry. And standing calmly on the other side of the wreckage is Karoline Leavitt, the underestimated voice, the political outsider they scoffed at. She's the composed force behind a legal firestorm that tore through decades of industry arrogance in a matter of months. Let's be honest, this didn't start with some grand scheme or months of investigation. It began with a smirk, one smug jab, and a segment designed to mock, belittle, and break her. It was a setup, not a conversation, a trap, not a debate. And now, the only thing that's been dismantled is The View itself. $800 million later, the scoreboard doesn't lie, Karoline is victorious, and The View is vaporized. They laughed on air, she filed. They ridiculed her again, she organized her evidence. They tried to cancel her, but instead, she carved her name into the annals of media history. For millions watching from home, especially those who've been dismissed, ignored, or ridiculed for challenging the media's status quo, this is more than just a legal victory. It's a symbol of standing tall against the giants. This wasn't just a verdict, it was vindication. No, it was poetry. Because this wasn't just about Karoline, It was about every person who's been talked down to, every voice drowned out on live TV, every opinion dismissed with a smirk disguised as intellect. Karoline didn't just clap back, she dismantled the entire system. She shattered the illusion that big networks could bully without consequence, spin narratives unchecked, and walk away unscathed. Now, every producer is sweating, every host is second-guessing, and every network lawyer is revising contracts with a new top clause, "Don't become the View." Karoline just proved what happens when you mock the wrong person, when receipts speak louder than ratings, when truth walks in quiet but unstoppable. So here's the big question, should The View be permanently cancelled? Is daytime TV finally facing its reckoning? Is this the beginning of a media movement where lies cost millions and integrity wins? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we're watching closely, especially the bold ones. And if this hit you like it hit us, smash that like button if you believe accountability just had its breakthrough.